up into 8th position. And that's from 17th, so it could conceivably be that Derek Warwick is in fact the fastest man on the circuit. We haven't seen any times, and we haven't seen Derek, but there's little doubt that we will be seeing him, provided the Tolman holds together. And Piquet now challenging Arnoux, who I remind you is in 4th position behind his teammate Patrick Tambay. Now, where is Rosberg? There he is, and a blast of flame from Piquet's exhaust pipe.
Yes, well, Rosberg hasn't hauled them in dramatically quickly. He is possibly closing, but it's very marginal. And that really means that combined with his efforts, the difficulty in passing, it's going to be a hard slog for Rosberg. But he's certainly right there. He's only 10 seconds behind the leader, Andrea De Cesaris. And at the moment, Piquet is providing all the action, climbing all over the back of René Arnoux' car, but as yet hasn't really looked like passing him. But this is the closest he's been. But you see how these winding curves spoil all the chances. He got in the position and then he has to back off, and that's a bit frustrating. They're bouncing on the curves through the chicane. They're all doing that, trying to straighten it up. And with that little dust up there, Piquet was a little bit slow out of the hairpin, out of the chicane there. Got the power on a bit slowly. And Rosberg has closed up. In the meantime, Derek Warwick is not actually closing on Andrea De Cesaris, but that is probably as much because he's in traffic at the moment, and therefore he's got slower cars to find his way around. Piquet now, here comes Piquet having a look, but into the Eau Rouge sweep. He couldn't, you really can't start mustering past people into a fast sweep like that, because there just isn't room on the line. And of course he drops back, so he's going to have to wait for another chance. But it's beginning to look as if Arnoux may have done his tyres in. Now, Arnoux has been criticised in the Ferrari team early this season for going at the early stages of the race like a bull in a china shop and overheating and overwearing his tyres and causing them, therefore, to not give it their best later on. Because all the teams obviously want to run the softest possible compound that they can get away with. That means, because the softer the compound, the more grip it gives, obviously. And but of course, the more it wears and the more it can overheat. And so what it means is that the driver is entrusted. The tyre is more susceptible to overheating and things when it's newest, because it has more rubber on in which to build up heat, and of course more movement in the tread. And that means that if you don't drive it carefully and you should not slide the car about too much. Arnoux's been accused by his team of sliding it about too much, and he certainly seems to be slowing down a bit now. Tambay is getting away in front, and Piquet is getting very excited behind him. Whoops, and you see how the car went all skittish when he got that wheel up on the curb. They're a bit slippery, those curbs, and they're quite high, but he's undaunted. And of course Rosberg is right there now, ready to field up any errors, but of course powerless in two senses to do anything.
4th, 5th and 6th together, Arnoux, Piquet and Rosberg leading the race. Andrea De Cesaris, 2nd Alain Prost, 3rd Patrick Tambay, and they're coming up now to complete lap 14. And Keke Rosberg has now closed right up on Nelson Piquet. Having got past Winkelhock, they go into La Source. Ferrari, Brabham and Williams absolutely together. 4th, 5th and 6th down to Eau Rouge. Now this is where the turbocharged cars ought to be able to pull away, because they're climbing the hill up from Kemmel to Les Combes, and that's where they get a power advantage.
Yes, I must surmise that René Arnoux is in tyre trouble, because there was nothing else apparently visibly wrong with his car, and he's definitely started quite suddenly and sharply to lose ground at more than a second a lap to his teammate Tambay, with whom he was circulating quite happily just a couple of laps ago. And of course we got the Piquet situation. So it's very frustrating indeed for Nelson Piquet, because as he sits there stuck behind Arnoux, he sees the people he wants to be racing disappearing off into an ever-increasing lead, which gives him more work later on. And I would think he'll be scratching his head quite hard trying to work out a way around the very powerful turbocharged Ferrari, but he's got to do it.
Now behind these three, 7 seconds behind them, is Eddie Cheever in the Renault in 7th place, and he is 11 seconds ahead of Jacques Lafitte, who is 8th. Derek Warwick is in 9th place, and don't forget that Andrea De Cesaris is driving the race of his life, because he has now completed 14 laps. He's on his 15th, he's still in the lead, and Piquet is now trying to get close enough to be able to draft his way past René Arnoux. And if Arnoux, and we're guessing, is indeed in tyre trouble, if his tyres are starting to go off, Piquet will be picking his moment. They are on different makes of tyre. We've said this before, it's highly significant in motor racing these days. The Ferraris, and that means to say Arnoux, use Goodyear tyres, and the Brabhams, and that means to say Piquet, use Michelin tyres, and it could be that the compound of one is just slightly superior to the other. And look at Keke Rosberg, and he's right up now. You could hardly put a stopwatch between them as they come past, and I'll give you the gap between Arnoux and Rosberg. It is a whisker, under a second. That's Eau Rouge. Now they're onto this long drag, which doesn't look much of a gradient on your screen, but I can tell you that when you walk up it is. And René Arnoux holding his advantage. The gap between Tambay and Arnoux, incidentally, Tambay in 3rd position and Arnoux in 4th, is 6 seconds, and again Piquet closes on the corner. René Arnoux.
Yes, Arnoux, after being a little bit wild, or apparently wild for the first couple of laps, I think has clocked that he's got to keep it smooth even if he's in tyre trouble, and is now playing it, appears to me to be playing it quite cannily, keeping it on line, blocking a bit, and Piquet, very frustrating for Piquet. This is the most terrible moment for a driver. The guy in front is in trouble. He has no obligation to move over and make space for you. The onus is on you to find a way around, and this track with it has the old overrun flame and Piquet's turbocharger, that extra fuel that gets pumped in on the throttle overrun, gets just ignited. Quite safe, quite normal. It's not anything wrong with the car, but Arnoux seems to be playing it quite candidly. But if he's stuck behind somebody and your rivals being gradually handed a bigger and bigger lead on a plate when you know you should be out there doing something about it, really is a very disheartening and difficult thing. And I suppose the only thing that relieves it slightly is the fact that that's motor racing, and one has occasions when the boot's on the other foot and you're a person defending a place that you don't really hold on merit, but you were there to start off with.
And it's Andrea De Cesaris going strong, is leading by 4.3 seconds now. And it's a pity, as far as Andrea De Cesaris is concerned, that there's this tremendous scrap for 4th, 5th and 6th places, because we're not seeing anything of him, and he's driving a magnificent race. And now is Piquet going to do it? Piquet changes place with René Arnoux, and we have a new 4th place man on lap 17. And now we're going to be able to see how much, if at all, René Arnoux was holding up Nelson Piquet. Yes, look at Piquet pulling away, and look at Keke Rosberg now doing to Arnoux what Piquet did, because Rosberg, in the leading 3-litre normally aspirated car, still in 6th position, has got a new 5th place man ahead of him, and Nelson Piquet is on his way. Now, I was about to say that it's extremely critical to Nelson Piquet that he move up through the field, because he's leading the World Championship with 21 points, and he is now in 4th position, and Rosberg is trying to take Arnoux. And in the 2nd place in the World Championship is Alain Prost with 19 points.
Yes, I'm afraid we've got an unfortunate problem with the director here, who obviously hasn't seen a motor race before, because Rosberg was having a dive up the inside of René Arnoux then. He failed to achieve it. We didn't see how he failed, but he was certainly having a go. And have a go is what he's got to do, because it's going to be quite a shut the eyes and pray manoeuvre to get past that Ferrari, but it'll be of major concern to Rosberg. And you can see the trouble that Arnoux did, because Piquet, who was running with him, is now streaking away, and Arnoux is capable of holding up Rosberg for quite a long time unless he can find some pretty solid answer pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Eddie Cheever is now starting to